Hi, everybody, and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Flynn. I'm very delighted to be here once again. We are live, so if you're watching live, you can throw questions in the chat as we're going through. Please don't hesitate to do that. We're sort of continuing on from a brief that we did yesterday. And so, yeah, let's introduce educator, logo designer and creator, also from Sydney, Australia, Jeremy Mura. How you doing, mate?
What's up, mate? Yeah, doing good. Ready for round two.
Round two. That's it. You covered so much ground yesterday, and we'll share your screen. We'll jumped into it like super quick. I know Dark Hours is looking after us here in chat, and I mentioned before we are live, so don't hesitate to throw questions in for Jeremy or myself as we are live going through. We've also got another live stream after this with Sophie Eleanor, so you can stick around. We've got 2 hours of stuff here. We're live, throwing your questions, all that sort of stuff. But Jeremy, I know that yesterday we just basically ran out of time, like moving so fast, we ran out of time. So I'm going to stop talking. We're going to share your screen straight away. And then maybe you can kind of catch us up, recap what we did and anything that you may have done between yesterday and today's stream.
Perfect. All right, let's jump into it. So just to recap quick on the brief, it's for a real client project that I'm working on. And it's called VEP, which stands in Latin for Velle es Posse, which means to be willing is to be able. And basically, they pre-qualify property aggregators or like brokers, and then they help an investor have the best possible outcome by making sure that they pick, they filter through all the bad ones and pick the best deals. It's in the property space, and we just needed something that's blue chip, evokes trust, that's smart, secure experience, etc.
Yeah.
And then our ideal customer, someone in their probably mid 40s, 50s, who's more got some wealth to spend on some assets. And then we jumped into creating a few logos. Had some inspiration here. Didn't have any crazy mood boards just because we jumped in it really quick. And then you can see some of the process. And usually when I'm thinking of the logo, I usually just chuck fonts on the artboard and start playing around with ideas. I already had an idea of like having a nice V logo mark, just keeping it really simple and clean, nothing too fancy. And you can see me just playing around with different ideas, different fonts. Had some different icons here. Thought of like maybe having like a house to represent property, or just having like different shapes cut up into the V to make it look distinct. Played around with sort of serif fonts. Serif can feel classic, but I feel like my clients are all males and they're actually young in their 30s, so I want to keep it fresh, modern.
Right.
So that was another thing to keep in mind that I think about. I always think about that you want to think about the founder, that bit about their story, and also the brief as well. You got to keep all that into mind. Then we had some ideas here, as you can see, and I'm just going through here. Had some more ideas. This one started looking like a W, so I think I scrapped that one.
Right.
And
it happens.
Yeah, exactly. You can start once you notice something, it's like you can't unsee.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then started playing with like these sort of Latin and Roman style shapes, but I just felt it was a bit too soft. And then we landed on this compass, the star representing like a compass, as you can see. Some of that had the icon here.
Yeah.
And then we had this nice shape which looks similar to like Juventus. It's a Italian football team, and basically it means youth in Latin. And so the brief, it connects to that word Velle es Posse. So I thought that was a neat little connection. It's all about connecting dots, right? So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
So he is the logo that I'll be working with. I feel like the all caps one can work as well, but we can probably have maybe a variation, but I feel like this one here we're going to be using. So we've got the nice mark, and then we're going to start playing around with colors and building out the font system, and then doing a couple mock-ups. I've already got some mock-ups loaded in here that we can customize hopefully in a short time.
And so like there's a couple of different versions there. So you let's just quickly kind of go to, would you present this to the client, or would you do the mock-ups of maybe one or two different types of logos? Like, what are you showing to the client at the next stage? I would say, like, you're just showing them the logo saying, hey, do you like this? Should I move forward with mock-ups? Or do you show the logo, put it in a brand presentation, mock-ups, all that sort of stuff? Like, how much time do you put into that first presentation?
Yeah, I'd say I'll spend like a full day designing a full presentation. I'll pick my two favorite directions that I think are the strongest. And there is one slide that I have that have logo variations, and I'll just put a bunch of them on there. So I might have like stacked version, logo text version, and the badge version, logo mark, and I'll put it on a page. But for the mockups, I'll just most likely just show the main logo most of the time. Just saves me time trying to do more mockups. So it just depends on how big the project is. So
Yeah. Cool.
so yeah, I would show an example, but we'll probably run out of time. I don't know if I have it in here. Nah. Yeah. So that's what I usually do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always interesting because it's like how much time I've done it before many times where I thought, oh, I'll get this knocked out by the end of the day. And then I'm sort of, I'm like page 16, like looking for mockups, like, you know, going through my folders of mockups I've used in the past, like looking for new ones because it wasn't quite right, you know, things like that.
Yep.
And then suddenly I'm like, oh my God, I promised them I would show them 2 versions at 9 a.m. when I was all ambitious. And now it's 4 p.m. and I've only done one mockup. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I sometimes go a little bit overboard with our first kind of presentation.
Yeah, of course. The first one is like you want to put all your cards on the table, but then after that you try and want to just like refine and show other ones. So
yeah,
yeah. I'm just gonna play around with colors here. Just want to finalize the type of colors. It has to be like premium. I'm still sticking with sort of these blues, and what I like to do, especially with text, I'll put in, like we'll put in, say this blue background, and I like seeing it, like what it could look like. So I'm gonna do some different versions. We'll have like the logo mark.
That's right. And then if you guys missed the first one, you kind of did a quick little kind of color palette, like version as well. So you kind of have 2 color palettes there to work from.
Yeah, I got a few color palettes from online that I felt was really nice. Yeah, so like one hack, you could go, say like, what did I say, luxury corporate colors. And you get a bunch of these ones just to save time, and then we can use them.
And just tweak them as well, right? Like I think you were saying you do. So you might just get them and then go, yeah, okay, I tweak the colors kind of as you go, as you start seeing them, how you're putting them into use.
Yeah, 100%. So like if I like a palette, I'll like copy it, paste it in, and extract. Like maybe I like this dawn, like this blue color. I'll put it into my swatches panel, and then, you know, what I usually do is like I'll go to the color guide, and maybe we want like different shades of that. We can do that as well in the color guide, and then I can test out different blues, or I usually go to color and go like HSB and add some black or like saturation. So if I want to, you know, so I usually play around like this, and that's how I'll get like different colors, duplicate. And yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of the same color, but you're kind of creating different shades of it.
Yeah, exactly. And then the fastest way is just you can click on the folder button, and it'll just make a swatch of the folder. So now I've created 3 other new colors from that initial one. So that's what I typically do. But yeah, when you've been designing for so long, you know what colors sort of work or gravitate towards. You know, when it's a high-end brand or, you know, but in the end, you can literally use any color, because branding is just, you know, it's about creating a perception, a gut feeling. And then over time, once you do brand building over a long period of time, build trust with customers, you become known for that color anyway. So it doesn't really matter, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Unless it's some like vomit or brown ugly color or something.
Or like poor contrast, right? Like it doesn't work for web design because you can't read the text or something like that. But as you said, with experience, you would just naturally not do that anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And I suppose you can have clients that like might have preferred colors, or they might say, oh, I hate red, no red. But then you get that out pretty early in the brief anyway, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. I always check in with them and say, hey, like, is there any parameters or specific things that you don't want or feel like you don't resonate with? And then they usually like, tell me, but they usually trust me with what I pick anyway. So
That's a cool, quick use of the pattern tool there.
yeah, best thing, object pattern make, and you can just customize that, like making the spacing, and you can use this for like a logo wall or like a banner or really anything. I think it's good. I'm just playing with the colors here, seeing like what we can create some different versions. And then I can make another pattern. So I'll just duplicate it and go pattern make. And then I like to always customize. So I like trying out brick by column or brick by row. It's always fun to play around with. And then you just put your mouse on the width and height, and I just hold shift and quickly just scale it up. And then we can increase that. And this is how I usually make patterns for my clients.
Yeah. It's cool how quick and easy it is now.
Yeah. So I love Illustrator. It's just fast when you want to do things like this. So yeah. So I think I'm really liking the blue, and then maybe this gray bluish tone works really well. Would also be good to maybe see what it would look like on white. And obviously I'm just doing, that's the mark without the square, but if we have this square as well. Probably doesn't even need the square, but
yeah, the colors working, I think, nicely.
Yeah, this is working, contrasting well, and the star is a bit lighter, so it's like it's more the contrast, and then we just got simple blue. We could do a gradient, but I feel like it's just easier to do flat colors here and there. But that's the thing with like building a logo. You want to make sure that it's legible, it's readable at small sizes. So if I make it really small, I can still see that's clear. It's a V.
Yeah.
And the star, it's not as readable. If it's blue, you can see it more, but still think it's all right for this example. Cool.
Still recognizable from a distance, right? Like, which is super valuable.
Exactly. All right, let's go and let's throw this on the mockup actually. The only thing though, I just want to make this text maybe not the royal blue, but maybe the just bring the logo here, and then I'm just gonna recolor it, and this one I need to figure out what color I'm gonna do for this. So I like just testing colors out, seeing what works. Maybe I can even use this sort of maybe blue color, see different shades. Maybe I want a gray. Let's see what grays we could do. Even like that could work. So yeah, if you have different versions, it's all about having different versions and seeing what works. and then you know that you've tested all the colors. So when you present to your client, you know, hey, like this is the best option.
Yeah. I find that maybe you get it too as well, where they say, "Oh, have you tried this?" or maybe and you're like, "It doesn't really work with this whole thing." Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's like, I tried that, it kind of doesn't look very good, or I tried that, it doesn't work at a distance, or you kind of bring that experience in a little bit to be like, yeah, we tried that one. No dice.
Yep. Exactly. Okay, cool. I'm gonna adjust the spacing a little bit. I think this square is too big. It could even probably works better on its own, but it's fine. Just don't know about this blue color. I think for this navy, might go a bit more, just maybe darker. I'm just testing on the light background.
We were talking about like domains in terms of branding. Like, at what point do you bring that in? And I only bring it up because I had to do it for someone else yesterday, and I thought was talking about being out of web design for a while and then jumping in and doing a project every year or so. I was searching for domains, and there's an option that's very similar to what will be very good SEO. Guess how much it is per year for the domain?
It's gonna be a lot, I think.
It's a lot. I'll give you a hint that it's not the $1 version. It's the other end of the spectrum.
It's maybe 5,000.
16 grand.
Oh yeah, there's some domains that are very up there.
I remember shocked.
Yeah, that's why for me, like when I'm looking for a domain, I'm always looking for .co, .net, .io because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Because .com is always like always costs way more.
Yeah. And do you recommend that for clients as well?
Yeah, like
because they're the ones
find a
ultimately
way to
paying
make it
for
work.
it, right?
Yeah, it's not worth the money.
Yeah.
Like, for example, there was a company that launched an AI friend thing that you wear on your neck, a wearable, and they bought the domain for 1.8 million, friend.com.
Whoa.
And that was like 80% of their funding. They got like 2.5 million from investors, and the domain was 1.8 million. I'm like, that sounds like a bit pointless, but
good Lord.
Yeah, I was like, that's a bit cooked.
Wow. How would you be if you were the investor? That's where my money's gone. Wow.
Your money's gone to the domain, yeah. You're hoping that domain works out.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed, huh? Wow. Stunned.
Funny.
Yeah, it's a lot more than this one. Because, I guess some people have been squatting on websites for decades now at this point, I suppose.
Yeah. I remember there was actually people as well that when Ethereum started becoming popular and like crypto, people started buying .eth domains.
Right.
And those people were actually making money off that, like, because the future will be, like, it could be like .io, .eth, .bit or whatever, like different domains in the future. So
isn't there a country, I heard about this in the news, totally getting off topic, but it's cool. I'm mesmerized by you doing the work there as well at the same time. But I heard, I didn't realize which country it is, but there's a country I think that has .ai as their country domain, and it brings in a massive amount of revenue now because of all the AI stuff that's going on. And pre-AI, it was like nothing, and now it's like a big chunk of their GDP is just people buying domain names .ai because that's related to their country.
Yeah,
and they get a cut.
So now when you're trying to start a side business or something, you're like, dude, the domain's too much.
Yeah.
Like, this is not worth it.
It's a crazy amount of money.
Yeah. So you just got to be creative with the names. And sometimes it will force you to like pick something else, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you prefer on the SEO thing and branding kind of combo thing, like if you had, I mean, this is VEP, so you're not going to get VEP.com, right? So
Yeah.
If it was like VP, which would you err towards most of the time? Making a longer, more descriptive name like vpconsultancygroup.com.au, for example, or like VP group, maybe you could get that .io. Do you know what I mean? Like, which would you think
definitely
would be better? Shorter with the, like less well-known, maybe outside of tech spheres, domain ending or suffix, I think I should say, or longer word.
Yeah, the thing is, acronyms sometimes it's a bit hard with domain, so you want to try and pick something that's just simple and easy to say. Like for example, this client, because it's like a joint, they're joining up with another business. They have VEPstrategies.com.
Yes,
but this business is a bit different.
Yeah,
it's a new business, so it would maybe have to be VEP Consulting or I don't know, valet.com or something, or like, I don't know. You'd have to make it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, because VEP would be like not well known, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it'd be so hard to get, like a 3-letter. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's check it out. Let's do some live research.
Yeah.
Okay, VEP.com. What do you think? What's the bet? How much do you think VEP.com by itself? That's it. What do you think it would be?
It's probably a lot. 2,000, I don't know. Maybe more.
Okay, let's see.
Suss it out.
Suss it out.
Oh
my God, it's taking its time. Doesn't even come up.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't come up when you're searching. It's so annoying.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's just not available. And VEP.info is like $1,000 by itself anyway, so.
Oh, wow. Yeah, see? Couple grand at least, mate.
Yeah. Let's see what VEP.com actually is. Oh, someone's squatting on it.
Yeah, someone's holding it.
Yep, so it has a link to, are you interested in purchasing this domain? Wow.
Of course.
Wow.
There's always someone that wants to buy.
That's crazy. Yeah, so you think like these days it doesn't matter. Like obviously this group is like pretty, we were talking before, kind of fintech, like you think they would be pretty technically savvy, the age group and the demographic. So both the audience and the people kind of involved, like, so you wouldn't really worry too much about confusing like someone who wasn't very tech savvy with like a .io or something like that. Like it wouldn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even in your country, like .au, even .co, like, how people think it's like co for company. It's actually Colombia. So people can confuse it for Colombia as well if you're in another country.
Right.
So, but other people just use it as like .co. It sounds like company. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a bunch of agencies and folk who have the .co. But yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Okay, let's get back to the design stuff. This is really cool. I noticed that you were doing, when you did the pattern, you cut in and cut out, like you made it a square or rectangular pattern and then you kind of pen tooled to cut it out, which was really cool to get that like nice finish, which is interesting because that was like quite a cool way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, you can see it there. Thank you. Yeah.
So I made a mask. So basically you see how sometimes... it gets cut off because obviously the pattern is inside a bounding box. Yeah. So sometimes you can line it up like this, right? But sometimes it just doesn't. It might cut off like so. I didn't want to risk it. Yeah. So so what you do instead, you just use the pen tool, and I'll go through it like make a path, and then just make a mask. So now you can see it. It doesn't. It hides that little extra bit that I don't want. So now it looks seamless. Looks a lot better.
Cool. Looks great.
Yeah. Even here, I could probably like do it here and fix it. Like maybe adjust it like this. And yeah, it's working good. So yeah, I'm just doing a So I'm going to work on this mock-up, and for this one here. And so I'm just creating sort of like a slide. This could be like a strategy deck that they propose or something.
Yeah.
And then what I'll do, I'm gonna just group it all together, copy, go into Photoshop, paste, and hopefully sizing fits properly. Cool. And then we go Control S to save that, and then boom, got that nice mock-up.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I don't want this orange color, so I'm gonna we could use AI to change it, or we could do hue saturation, something like that. So I just want to select this and then invert the selection, and then we're going to go to our adjustments, and we'll go hue. Actually, we don't even need to make a selection because it's already got the mask there. And then we'll go make it blue, but I don't want it too saturated, so we'll go a bit less, maybe darken it a bit more. And then I don't like how it made this purple, so I'm just gonna rub out the mask there. See what that will look like. Good old-fashioned Photoshop skills.
Yeah. So
I feel like all the new kids using just AI prompts, they don't know how to do this stuff.
It might be a lost art. We might be showing. It's a bit like the pen tool, right? Like you bust out the pen tool in Photoshop, and it's like, oh, what's that?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like they're missing out. Like you get more control because AI. Imagine you have to keep prompting and waiting, prompting, adjusting.
That's true. Yeah.
That's one of the downsides. I feel like.
I think that's a really good point, and you know, they're all tools, right? There's the right tool for the right job every time. There's always like a way to refine things and a different approach, and sometimes the pen tool is exactly the precision thing that you need, and sometimes it's a cumbersome, very slow way to do something that you can ask AI to do for you.
Exactly.
But, yeah, situations, understanding the situation of when to use what, I think is key.
Yeah, 100%. Just adding a bit of a blur to the outside so we can bring more focus to the mock-up. And press OK. And then what I like to do is I'll go filter, and you can see I basically merged these layers and made one on top. And then I love to go to camera raw filter. And we're going to go in here so you guys can see that. And what I like to do is just play with the contrast. Maybe bump the highlights, maybe bump exposure, maybe not. Shadows a bit. Color, sometimes I like adding a bit of vibrance. And then effects, usually texture or haze you can add a bit. But you can see if you add too much, it might make it feel a bit too digital. So I like maybe add a bit of texture, and you can add also green as well sometimes. And see the before and after. I don't know if you guys can see that, but just small adjustments make it pop a bit more.
Yeah. And trying to keep the legibility, but try to make it look as realistic.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we could leave it like this. If we did want to make it a bit more readable, we can transform it and, like zoom in if we want. So this could be an option.
You could even generatively expand from there if you wanted to, but that'll probably don't need to do that today.
Exactly.
But you could.
That's a great idea. You can expand, add, I don't know, little details or something. And then what I usually do is just save for web. I drop the image size to about, I don't know, 2,000-3,000. So it doesn't, you know, overpower your computer and go crazy.
So you keep the kind of the original version, like the original mock-up size. You don't minimize the canvas or anything. You export a version, and as you're exporting, you make it kind of close to the right size for your presentation. Yeah,
exactly.
It's cool.
And then let's just say this is like a presentation slide. I'll just drop it in there. But if I have to, if it's not the right size, because some mock-ups aren't, I'll go back into Photoshop and just expand it on the edges. So can go like this because let me turn all that off because it's not rasterized. Let's just go flatten for now, and then we'll just go generative expand. Oh, wait, sorry, I gotta select the
edges.
Sorry, generate fill. I think I did the wrong thing, didn't I? I'm doing fill instead of expand.
It's the same thing, really. I think it's just the way that I think because it was an original file that you're working on. I think if you brought it in to Photoshop as a JPEG, the bars appear on the side like straight away.
Yeah, so I could tell it said generative expand. Then when I made a selection, it was generative fill. So
yeah,
it's fine. It's not a big deal. Yeah, cool. So we could I don't know, do this, and then I'll just resave this. You don't have to save for web. You could just save a Photoshop file as well.
The Photoshop files are much bigger, right? Like if you end up with like a 16-page presentation with 12 mockups, you're getting pretty big files.
Exactly. Yeah. So all I got to do is just resave on top of that, and then go to my links and just click this little button. See how there's a yellow symbol, and boom, and then it should update the size. And that's one thing I love about Adobe. It's all interconnected.
Yeah.
Then I can just make a mask, and then we can just say like mockup strategy deck or something. Boom, and that's how I'll do it. And then obviously I'll build up my presentation and everything. So
nice.
So yeah, that's how I would create sort of like a mock-up. Now let's sort of finalize these colors. So I'm really set on, I don't know, I just like this blue and sort of this like grayish not a baby blue, but it's like grayish. I don't know, I just feel like it, for one direction it could work, and then another direction I'll do like a different color altogether, I feel like.
Right.
So then I'll like start putting out colors in my little color palette here. There's also a darker version here. I think it's a bit darker. No, I had a darker gray. I think it was one of these ones. Yeah,
about
gray, and then
approximately like how many mockups might you include?
I'd say 4 to 10. Sorry, yeah, 5 to 10. Sorry,
5 to 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just depending on scope of the project or what's in the brief.
Yeah. Usually just a small business. I try and do up to 5. So like a business card, something like this strategy, like an iPad thing or a laptop or the signage, just to show them what it feels like, what it looks like. Yeah, but some other brands might have like web apps and a lot of stuff, so you need to show it.
Yeah.
We could just show something like that simply. I could probably change the color. For example, we can add like a solid fill. I don't know, do like a dark version, and then I can go back into here and we can try the light version.
What's kind of the go-to mock-up? Is it the business card? Is everyone want to see their logo in a business card mock-up these days?
I don't know. I feel like business cards, not so much. I think showing it on Instagram or like a LinkedIn, something like that. What else? On a billboard. I feel like looking on a billboard's cool.
Right.
Like, Times Square. I see a lot of mock-ups with people like doing the Times Square thing.
Doing Times Square.
Yeah, like on the screens.
Oh my gosh.
I'm seeing a lot of brand prezzies like on Twitter, people doing that.
That's great. Imagine the budget
Yeah.
you would need.
Oh no, it's loading slowly.
It looks cool. I like this one. This bit of signage.
Yep. Bit of signage, bit of wood. I didn't color the bottom wood. I should have done that, but doesn't have to be perfect. Just trying to get lots of ideas out for now. And then now, because I've sort of done like basic, I've got the fonts here. All I got to do now is just put that in. So I'm using General Sans for the font.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a simple, clean font. Nothing crazy. It's not a grotesque or anything. It's just very simple.
Is it a web font or like a free font or Adobe font, or what's its?
Yeah, it's a free font. Yeah. I don't think I got it from Adobe. I got it from FontShare.
Yep.
Yeah, FontShare is a really great resource. They've got a lot of free fonts that are just really clean and nice. And obviously Adobe fonts is great too. I got heaps of Adobe fonts.
And you probably haven't had time to check them out, but there's a whole bunch of font foundries that just got added as well. I'm just doing a PSA every now and then when I think about it, because I feel like
I was checking it yesterday, but I'm like, I have to really sit here and go through it. I didn't have much time.
Yeah.
But it looks like there was heaps new collections.
I'm surprised there's not like a banner up or something sort of saying, hey, here's like all the new ones. I have to track down some sort of article or something.
Yeah, sure. So we could just go like this.
And when you're doing a brand presentation like this, do you have a template or do you do it a bit different each time, or what's your approach?
Yeah, I do have a template. Let me go. Yeah, so usually a presentation. Let's open this one. Yeah, I usually have like a template that just works pretty well. So for example, this one is in Illustrator. You can buy it in my store. I have a template. Yeah, so for example, here I'll go through like, elevator pitch, value proposition, brand summary, target audience, values, key message, brand voice, personality, show the mood board, and then we just go through the presentation, colors, typography, showing the competitors, for example. And then I'll go through mockups. So yeah, this one was for like a personal brand. But we did change the logo because we wanted it to be more of an agency instead. But yeah, this is just for a simple identity, nothing too crazy. You can see I didn't do that many mockups, but like you don't need that many to just get the message across. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool, like having a big template like that, because you could take a whole bunch out. Like maybe you felt like you needed more mockups.
I can add and take.
Yeah, which is cool.
100%. So just like, this is just a good baseline. And then, and then I just add to it or subtract. So yeah,
nice.
I mean, it's been working for me for a while. So I don't have clients complain.
That's cool, and it's something you're used to, right? As well, like you kind of can have it in the back of your head. You know that that's kind of bit of an end goal. Like, you know, you're going to have certain amount of mock-ups, like, you know, your mood board and like just the way you collect things. You must get more efficient at that over time.
Totally. We all need to get more efficient, I feel like.
We do. We do.
So just building out sort of like the font system. So like we've got the headline here, paragraph, letters and numbers. And sometimes, for example, like this is for another brand. Sometimes I like show like, okay, this is just like header, body, CTA, like a typographic example. Or like we do, you can see like text. I'll do the H1s sizing and stuff. So this is a good way to lay it out. And then I usually like in the PDF, I'll put a link to it, to the fonts to download. So yeah, I think that's one way to, yeah, it's just a nice way to show the, like the client how to use or if a designer jumps on it, they know like, hey, what's the sizing for the website or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
So yeah, what colors here? How much time we got? Not much.
Not much. Couple of minutes.
Okay. Still, stone. Maybe.
What do you think, like, as we're getting towards the end here, like, what do you think is, like, got any kind of parting sage pieces of advice for people that are maybe they have a logo or maybe they've been asked to make a logo, but they want to kind of build it out to a brand? Like, let's say that they're in that kind of situation. Like, what are kind of some approaches or do you have any kind of parting tips or things to avoid for designers trying to do that? Say they've got a logo mark and a word and that's it, and they're trying to build a whole brand presentation.
What would like be things to avoid?
Yeah, it could be things to avoid. It could be like things to do. It could be just general kind of off the top of your head, putting you on the spot advice.
Definitely. I'd say always try and communicate confidently. I present over Loom as well instead of doing a live call because it takes the pressure off you. Also, like make sure that you show the mock-ups in relevant context and don't just like show random mock-ups that are not even relevant to the specific business or brand. What else? Try and weave in like a story, try and add logic into the logo. I try and always put like 2-3 ideas into the logo. So when I communicate it, it's like, it's logical and it has a process of how I came up with the idea and everything. And what else? Yeah, like design, like make it fun, like have fun with it. It's design. It's meant to like, it's not art, but like add your personality into it. Make it like easy for you, like make it a good experience for your client overall.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they'll appreciate that.
Cool. I like it.
Yeah.
It's a lot. That's good. Off the top of your head. Wow. I was expecting one thing. Got a whole bunch. I think that is important as well. Like, it's like such a fun thing. Like, I think when we're talking about doing the mock-ups, I bet you get this where people just get so excited that you've taken this kind of idea that maybe they've had for a couple of years and it's finally looking real for the very first time. All they've done is kind of have a call with you or send an email with some points of what the name is and what they're trying to do. And then you're kind of coming back and being like, hey, here's what it could be. And they're often like, it's the highlight of their week, right? Like this or month, year, they're so excited.
Yeah, 100%. And like seeing it like something visual, it's like interesting and it's fresh and new and yeah, it's awesome. Design is fun.
Design is fun. I like that. We can have that as our takeaway. But we will wrap up here. So we will need to leave you so that we can set up for the next stream. But this has been awesome. Should we do a quick little recap? Got a minute?
Sure. Yeah, 100%. Cool. So we built our logo in yesterday's. The company is VEP. yeah, we started off with the brief, and then we went through some logo designs, looking at some other inspirations. Just wanted to do a simple V mark or negative space, something like that. Started playing around with different logos. As you can see, playing around with the icon, the text, logo mark. Then we ended up coming to this sort of this shape here with the compass star, the guiding star, clean sans serif font, lowercase. And then played around with some patterns, colors here, getting the right colors with the right contrast. And then we started doing some mock-ups for like a strategy deck or something. And we created this mock-up here and signage. And then we built out the type system. So general sans, you've got the paragraph, we got bold, and then we've got the paragraph text, which is light or regular. And then the fonts the colors we did like this blue with these like grays and like a navy color, which I think works well. And yeah, just showing the logo variations here, and I don't know, just playing around with presentation. So yeah, logo to sort of an identity, and then we could create many more mock-ups and other, maybe if the client wants to do a website, we can do a website mock-up or whatever. So yeah, I think this is how I'll do. This is my process.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love it. It's, I mean, gotten so far from scratch, from the brief here on Adobe Live, which is awesome. It's always great to see how quickly you can work and kind of explain what you're doing as well, Jeremy. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing everything that you do on Adobe Live.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for having me.
It's really cool. And guys, stay tuned. We'll be back in just a little bit over 10 minutes with Sophie Eleanor. We're going to be animating type in Photoshop. So we'll see you then. And thanks again, Jeremy, and everyone for watching.